My brother writes notes to me and my little sister, pretending to be our mom, and he doesn't know we know. My dad isn't in the picture, and my mom works long hours every day, so she's usually gone by 7 and comes back around 8. She's still a great mom, though, and I love her very much. One day, I, 15 female, found a note in my bag the day of a major exam from my, quote, mom, telling me not to give up and that she's proud of me no matter what. It really made me happy, but the handwriting was a bit wonky. I didn't think much of it. A while later, I catch my brother, 20 male, packing something into my bag at night. I play it off and pretend I don't think much about it. The next day, I find another note in my bag. Then I realized my little sister, 7 female, had been getting notes too from mom every day because I was helping her pack her bag in the morning one time. She told me that, quote, I know it's from brother, but I still like them.
Oh.
My brother always puts on this bad boy front for everyone. Like, quote, I don't care about anything and I wear leather jackets. So it's super sweet and kind of funny to think about him writing in wonky cursive and drawing heart shapes at night.
What do the leather jackets have to do with it?
Just that bad boy persona. He has no idea we know, and I don't plan on telling him. I don't really use Reddit, but I just think it's really sweet, and I got another note this morning. There is an update. Update is just titled, My brother writes notes to me, my little sister, pretend to be our mom, and he doesn't know we know. I don't know if I'm doing this right, so sorry if I get the formatting wrong or anything. The original post on my profile. I'd like to thank all of you who left kind words for my brother, and for all the awards and upvotes. So this isn't the most exciting of updates, but this post got kind of viral, and my brother actually saw it on TikTok. Yeah, it was an awkward conversation to have, but he said you guys are all really wholesome, and he thanks you for your compliments. As for his reaction, I don't know if he's going to see this, but he shrugged it off like it was no big deal, but I can tell he was secretly really pleased. By the way, to some of you who asked if my mom knew, I actually didn't ask her, but she told me when it came up the other day that my sister already showed her his notes. She thinks it's really cute too. He doesn't do the mom thing anymore, but I think he figured we still liked getting notes from him, so he still leaves them.
Aww.
Just not signed off by mom.
Yeah.
He writes in his normal handwriting, and the notes aren't as cheesy, but they're still really sweet.
Aww.
Sorry if you were expecting a wedding post or something. Am I the asshole for telling my son I won't be attending his wedding? I have 3 kids, 25, 23, and 16. I think I'm okay here, and a few relatives who know what's going on agree. My kids, however, are saying we're wrong, and my 16-year-old introduced me to this forum to post. My eldest, Jack, is in med school. Jack's always been a great student and graduated top of the class, and he's overall very charming and social. In 2021, he met a girl, Beth, through a tutoring program. Me and my wife had only met Beth twice, in larger groups of Jack's friends, and it wasn't anything serious. A few months ago, Jack dropped the news that he and Beth were going to marry and he would take a leave of absence from medical school at some stage. I'm sure you can imagine our shock, but he insisted this is what they want to do and he wants to support Beth. My wife tried to explain to him they're both young, especially Beth. She's only 21 and he's considering leaving med school on an emotional impulse. I said this is a mistake. We barely know Beth and he wants to throw away his future like this? Well, Jack's stubborn and he's going through with this. The wedding is in a couple of weeks in a very small ceremony, and we won't be attending. I told Jack we'll send a gift, but that's all. He got very angry and said it's his choice, but I said I'm not restricting him from doing anything. Not attending is also our choice because I don't want to encourage his nonsense. So the thing about this post is the account has now been suspended. Reddit took it off, the person deleted it, whatever is happening, but it's gone. So you can't use the Wayback Machine. I'm going off screenshots, but in a part of when you're filling out a post, like this Autobot generates like a description of like why you might be the asshole. And the top comment that's on there currently saw it. And I think before we give a judgment, we need all the answers. And OP left this information conveniently out of the post. And I don't think it's fair for us to give a judgment on this one unless we really know everything. So the top comment says, you conveniently leave out that Beth is terminally ill in the main post, but not in the judgment bot reply. I'm guessing that the leave of absence from medical school is planned for her late stage illness where she'll be, dying. You're the asshole. Edit to add, I see you made a quick little edit to now include that Beth has terminal cancer after getting called out for not putting it in your original post. OP, you are an absolutely cold-hearted asshole. A lot of women dream of having a wedding their whole lives, and he's making sure she gets that before she dies so very young. Instead of understanding that and being compassionate, all you can think about is how this might impact, and let's be real, it won't, your son's lucrative career. Gross. I decided to get tested to see if I could donate my kidney to my wife of 6 years. We have 2 kids together, 4 female and 2 male. My wife got sick just after our son was born and now is in need of a kidney transplant. We checked with her relatives and none were a match or a viable donor. Last week, I got tested. I knew it would be a long shot, so I decided to get tested to see if I could donate. I got a call the other day saying that I was a match. The doctor then said something about wanting to do additional testing due to some information from the HLA tissue test results. I didn't think much of it and agreed. Then the results came in and I was shocked and confused. He explained that because of how DNA information is passed down through generations, a parent to a child could have at least a 50% match. Siblings could have a 0 to 100% match. It was rare to have a high match as husband and wife. I asked, what does that mean? He said that my wife and I have a, quote, abnormally high match percentage. Long story short, we're related. No.
Whoa. I don't know how I didn't. Whoa.
No, I'm not kidding. I was put up for adoption before I was born, placed into a family that moved across the country. I knew I was adopted, but we didn't have any information about my bio family. It was a closed adoption. I met my wife by chance 8 years ago. I was on a trip from work and she was working at the site I went to. We worked together for a week. We exchanged numbers and kept in touch. I was sent back there 3 more times that year and each time we became closer. I was given the opportunity to be transferred out there in a new higher paying position in a different department as hers. The rest is history. I don't know what to do moving forward, but I know it may be wrong. She is my wife and the mother of our kids. This post is probably going to get removed, but it is all true. We do have an edit. Look at the name, which his username is throwaway. Wife is my HS. Call me dumb, but it's not clicking right now. All of my family is from my adopted parents. My parents adopted me 2 minutes after I was born. Their name is on my birth certificate. They have not told me anything about my bio parents, and I don't have any info. Her family is not a match as stated above. Most of her family has low match potential or can't donate due to medical or other reasons. I am 2 years older than my wife. I do know that my wife was born when her parents were late teens. So it kind of makes you think her parents are also his parents and they had 2 accidental pregnancies, but because he's older and they were even younger teens, put him up for adoption. What's HS?
Hereditary sister.
Am I wrong for forcing my roommate to miss her finals exam that she spent 2 years studying for? Context: I live with a roommate and her 3-year-old child. Roommate is a 4th-year medical student and is really struggling having to balance with child, intense study workload, chores, and part-time jobs to afford rent, babysitter, and necessities. On the day of the biggest exam of her entire degree, her babysitter canceled last minute. She was absolutely frantic and hysterically called every one of her contacts to help. Of course, she asked me. She has asked me before to babysit, and I always give a stern no. It's not the time that I need to spend, since I'm perfectly fine with swapping around chores, but the principle that I must be responsible for the child for the duration. Example, if the child hurts himself, no matter how badly, it would be on me. And I refuse to take that responsibility for something like that, so I always refuse to babysit. She begged me, and since the journey to her exam center is almost 2 hours and she needed to go now, she just said, I don't effing care, and just left the house. Frankly, I found this quite disrespectful, as it is trying to push me to babysit without my consent. Right after she left, I grabbed my coat and also left. She was starting her car when she saw me and asked what I was doing. I told her I was going to watch a movie. I lied. I just refused to babysit without consent. Her eyes dropped and I could see the tears forming as she started begging me more to help her. I still explained the same thing, and that it's not the time or effort, but the responsibility. She told me she would sign a waiver that states I am 100% not responsible no matter what happens. I am not an expert in law and not sure if such a waiver is even legally enforceable. Even so, it still carries a responsibility risk, so I stand my ground. Eventually, she became quiet and started sobbing while hitting herself. I, as respectably as I can, asked if there's anything I can help with that does not involve babysitting the child. She told me to F off, so I did and actually went to watch a movie. It's been a few weeks and she still absolutely refuses to communicate with me. I do feel pretty bad, since I've seen for the past 2 years we've lived together that she has almost no free time, always sleeps later than me, and wakes up earlier than me to cram in a little bit of extra study. I know the exam meant a lot to her, and missing the exam might jeopardize her entire degree of 4 years. It sucks that her efforts for the past 2 years has gone down the drain, but that's not an excuse to cross my bottom line.